Hey guys, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark, and of course we are going to be doing Anime Girl Goes Viral for Stepping Crush and now has fan club of men wanting to be killed next by Rotten Mango, which of course last time we watched the Island Massacre, which was of course just crazy. It was unhinged. I mean the video itself was unhinged, but also what happened was just crazy. I don't know how you have never heard about it before. But now we're doing this one. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of this story. I already know about the story, but I want to see whatever hour-long information we get on it. Because all I know is that girl stabs guy. I don't know if he died or not. I thought he died. Maybe he didn't die, or maybe he died later. And then goes to jail, and then gets out of jail. I think she's out of jail now. And everyone's simping for her. Like, guys are just simping for her, of course, because, I mean, they were simping for her when she did it. But at the very beginning, and just like, oh, she's yandere drawing pictures of her and all that stuff. So it's just how it goes, though. Like if you're a cute girl, you will just have simps and white knights. Like nothing's gonna happen. But this is just the opposite of yesterday. Like I was saying, if you're a serial killer and you go to jail, women are gonna simp for you in jail for whatever reason. It goes both ways. Like a lot of serial killers, you'll hear that women are just throwing themselves at these guys in jail for whatever reason. Well, there's a psychological reason I think for it, but we're not going to get into that. Just throwing themselves at these serial killers in jail, and then this is the same, kind of the same thing. Woman's crazy, she killed the guy or almost killed the guy, but she's pretty, so guys are gonna be throwing themselves at her. That's just how it is. Both spectrums. If it's guy crazy, girl crazy, there's still going to be people who might simp. Maybe specifically because they're crazy. So let's go ahead and just get into this. I wanted to go with a shorter one today because I'm just like not on time. I think I'm just gonna have to just not sleep, or maybe even record multiple in one day, and that'll help me. That's what I have to do. I gotta record two rad videos in one day, and then upload one today and upload one tomorrow, so I can actually not have to worry about time. Because the best time for my internet to upload is night, like past 12 p.m. It is now 5 a.m. Oh, not past 12 p.m. Past 12 a.m. It is now 5 a.m. So that means once I'm done recording this, it's already going to be past premium time. It's probably going to take a couple hours to record this, and then a couple hours plus to upload because uh, as time goes on, the upload gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So it, in a best case scenario, will only take 2 hours, if not shorter than that. But because I think we're already past like the golden hour, it will take longer than 2 hours to upload. So oof.
Bada bing, bada boom.
It's 4 a.m. in Tokyo. A woman named, let's call her Mika, is walking back home from this long night out.
Also, I did notice we are at like 999 subscribers. I don't think that will last long, as in I'm pretty sure people will unsubscribe or subscribe on and off. We'll see if we actually get over 1,000, if it can actually stay over 1,000. Which of course I'd be pretty sure this is all just because of Rotten Mango. So I guess thank Rotten Mango. I'm pretty sure people wouldn't be here otherwise. Whenever we do get over 1,000, it's finally we'll have we'll probably talk about that when I have 1,000. I don't want to get too much into it right now because we're only at 999. So we'll wait until we actually hit 1,000. But yeah, we're one away from 1,000.
She had gotten through all the anxiety-inducing parts, so she's gotten through the street, the parking lot, and now she's in her lobby. It's well lit. You most likely need a key card to get in, and she's kind of letting her guard down just a little bit. She turns the corner and she lets out a blood-curdling scream. 4 a.m. in an apartment building lobby.
Let me guess. We'll just call her Yandere for right now because we don't know what her name is. There's like the infamous picture of her like smoking a cigarette or whatever on about the balcony or something. Did you see her smoking the cigarette on the balcony covered in blood or something?
She just wasn't expecting to see this sight on the floor.
Okay, so it's probably the guy stabbed. Wait, hold on. I forgot to do something. Right there, I forgot. Forgot to, turn this on. Forgot to do that, so we have that. Also, just before we go in, I was complaining about this yesterday, but same thing. What is with this lamp, and why is only this portion lit up? I was joking about it before, but like it's still like I'm guessing it's just a gauge to tell you how bright the thing is, and this will fill up depending on if you make it any brighter. I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Tonight, like smack dab in the middle of the apartment lobby's cold floor, there was a pretty 21-year-old woman just sitting. That's a weird sight, just like in the middle of the floor. She's just wearing a t-shirt as a dress. It's not covering much. She's sitting in the middle of the ground, smoking a cigarette, and having a casual phone call with a friend. Her demeanor was so calm and chill. It's as if she was sitting in her own private living room talking to her friend on the phone. But she's not. She's sitting in the middle of the apartment lobby floor, and there is a half-naked, bloody man dying behind her. They were both covered in blood, his blood. It's like she was guarding his body. The girl covered in blood would later explain, "That's the love of my life, and I was waiting for him to die."
Whoa.
Mika didn't know what to do because she doesn't know if this girl is armed and dangerous still. She has no idea. I mean, this is just all she's gathering in like 2 seconds. She calls the police and then she snaps a quick picture of this scene because it's just so unbelievable.
Oh.
This photo would later go viral, and men from all over Japan would start messaging Mika, asking her, "Do you personally know the bloody girl in the picture? Because if you do you know she's single now? Because I want her to date me. And honestly, I'd let her stab me."
What?
This is the story in Japan of a girl that was deemed too beautiful to kill.
Oh, yeah. Rid of that. Go ahead and mute that. Because in licensed music, don't know if it's anything you get in trouble for, but do gotta mute that. Yeah, 'cause I'm pretty sure she's out of jail now. She might even be doing, let's just say she's doing cosplay or something. I think that's what she's doing now, right? She's out of jail for almost killing this guy. She's doing cosplay. She's got simps giving her millions of dollars.
Today's full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com.
But spoilers. I don't know if that's true, so don't take what I'm saying as facts. If that's like, and fact is, as that's something that's happening now. I just think that's happening. I don't know. Or not. So that might not be true, and that might not be spoilers because I don't know if it's true or not.
We enlisted the help of our wonderful Japanese researchers for this case, but as always with these international cases, if anything is lost in translation or if there's another aspect to this case that you discovered, please let us know in the comments. And with that being said, let's get into it. The realtor did think it was kind of strange. Okay, maybe it was like more impressive than strange that such a young, pretty girl could afford such a nice apartment. The apartment needed a deposit of $14,000, and the rent each month would be $1,000. So I'm assuming that Japan works like Korea, where you actually get the full deposit back, but it's just, still, that's a lot of money to have in one sitting.
Yeah.
How can a pretty 21-year-old girl even afford that? But the realtor's like, maybe I'm just being judgmental, you know? So she showed.
Why is the point that, like, why does it matter if she's pretty, though? Pretty 21-year-old afford that. I mean, maybe the fact that she is pretty, you could argue, is the reason she can afford it. If she's like a model or something, right?
Shows the 21-year-old around. This is the main bathroom, fully renovated. The apartment was so stunning, the girl said she was so happy with the place, she wanted to sign the lease immediately. The realtor's thinking, maybe she's got rich parents. She could try asking. Is your family moving in with you as well? No, just me and my boyfriend. He's moving in with me later this year. He just has to quit his job first. It sounds like the girl is in a loving relationship, right? And they got concrete plans to start a future together. Unfortunately, the boyfriend she's talking about isn't aware that the two of them were dating. He wasn't aware that he was going to move in with her like that, or that he was.
Okay, so it's full yandere. Okay, it's not just they were already together. He doesn't even know that they're together. I mean, because they're not together, but she thinks they're together.
Going to quit his job at the end of this year. And he also wasn't aware that she was going to stab him in the stomach in bed to make sure that he didn't flirt with other girls. But the realtor didn't even bat an eye. She thought, well, we are close to the red light district. Maybe the young girl makes her money at a hostess bar. She made her commission and she moved on until she saw it on the news. So the business of love in Japan is huge, and a lot of it is dominated by hostess
As we were talking about the host club and hostess clubs.
and host clubs, which, side note, this was before I was doing visuals, but we have an audio podcast episode about Lucy Blackman from a long time ago. It's a British woman who went to Japan and worked at a hostess bar in Japan. She was abducted, assaulted, and killed. I'm going to link that below. That was probably my first real deep dive into hostess and host bars in Japan, and I go really in depth into it. Give it a listen. It's a heartbreaking case. But I find hostess and host bars very fascinating because of how straightforward it is. Hostess clubs, they cater towards stroking a man's ego, making men feel like the top dog, the alpha male, the manliest, most impressive man in the world. And then host clubs are the opposite. It's a bunch of male hosts making women, clients, feel beautiful, young, and wanted. And you would think that being so blunt with this transactional purchase, the intention and all of that, it would just be lost. Because it's almost like, hey, call me pretty. And then you call me pretty. It doesn't mean anything anymore. But no, humans want what they want. And they're willing to spend a lot of money for it. So let's start with hostess clubs first, because it seems like they came around first.
Okay, so I don't know where we're going with the hostess. Was she a hostess? I don't remember that. Well, I mean, again, I don't know much about this story, but we're clearly going to be going on a tangent for host clubs. So I'm guessing this is, well, hold on. Actually, this might be relevant if the man was a host. If he was a host and she was saying, oh, she was thinking we're together, then she must be paying this guy at the host club and thinks they're in a relationship, I'm assuming, and then like somehow gets him to move in with her, be with her, somehow miraculously, and then stabs him because I mean he's a host, right? So his job is to uh, see other women. So she tries to kill him so that he can't do that anymore.
There's a lot of different types. I go over it in the audio podcast for Lucy Blackman, but I'm just going to break down a few for you, the main ones for you. The no touching hostess clubs. These are just like regular bars, but with a twist. A group of corporate salaried men will walk in. Either they're a group of colleagues, or maybe they're with clients that they're trying to sign. They'll walk in, and the hostess bar is filled with pretty young girls. A pretty young woman will greet them and escort them to a secluded part of the bar. So unlike most clubs and bars, the customers are seated pretty far away from each other. They kind of have their own private section so they can truly feel comfortable. Then depending on how many drinks they've ordered, depending on the size of their party, some hostess clubs go hourly, some go by drinks, some go by a minimum spend. A group of young women, attractive women, will come out and sit with a group of men. The rest of the night, these women will stay there. So they're not like waitresses where they're like, everything good? Like, I'm going to walk away now. They sit with you. They pour your drinks. They take shots with you. They giggle at your jokes. They ask you questions like, wait, how do banks work again? I have no idea. You're so smart with things like this. And then they let their little eyes twinkle while you tell them the most mundane, boring facts about banks. Even though she probably knows like half the stuff that guy is saying is like wrong, she just goes along with it. Makes him feel like he knows the equation to success and the meaning of life. If a man grabs a cigarette, the hostess is ready. It's so smooth. She's got a lighter. She's lighting it while maintaining eye contact. A lot of the salaried men, that's what they're called in Japan, salaried men, are wiped after work. And the last thing that they want to do is entertain a client and make them laugh. And in places like Japan and Korea, drinking with clients is such a big part of the culture. I guess it's kind of equivalent to like golf with clients here in America. So imagine doing that on your off-hour time after you've already worked a 10-hour day.
Yeah, for Chinese too. It's all like based on interpersonal relationship and a lot of drinking. It's like you want to do a business deal, you gotta get wasted.
It's
like,
insane, like the amount of liver problems that are probably being caused by work.
yeah.
And like I know a lot of people think that host and hostess clubs came about in Japan because there's some sick, twisted need for stuff like this. It's actually not. It has more to do with the work environment, like the society's work pressure. So all these salaried men, they're expected to go drink with their clients after work, entertain their client, but they're dead wiped. They're so tired. So they bring them to these hostess clubs, and these hostesses now do their job. They're entertaining the client, asking questions, making the salaried men look good in front of the client. And they have really high social EQ. So they know which company or which employee is paying. They will constantly flatter them in front of the client to make them more influential and powerful. This is crazy. At one point, it said that 90% of the open tabs at hostess clubs were being paid by major corporations.
That's
Not
so smart.
crazy, not by individuals, but literally companies that are like, hey, employees, go blow off steam. Hey, bring the clients there. There's an open tab. It's actually considered a somewhat respectable gathering place for business talk or transactions. If you go on a lot of Western media websites, they'll make it sound like a club, but it's not really. Now, the hostess will stroke the man's ego while encouraging him to buy more drinks.
So, just pausing it, just let them talk for a while, just going on and on about hostess clubs. I didn't know too much about them either, so to be like, oh yeah, it's just a business place, sure. Not something I really thought about before. The fact that the businesses are just like, yeah, it's just a business expense, just spend as much as you need. I wonder if they get a tax write-off on that. I'm guessing so, right? I'm pretty sure a business would find a way to make a host/hostess clubs have a tax write-off for sure. I would have to assume.
It's usually etiquette for the customers to buy the hostess a drink if they're getting a drink. So instead of buying one overpriced shot, you're buying two. And it's always just water for the hostess. The bartenders are in on it. Everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, because it wouldn't make sense if they're just drunk all the time. Like there has to be something being done so they don't get drunk. So yeah, somehow giving them water makes sense, unless the guy is like forcing them to have alcohol. Then I would assume they'd be able to get rid of him, and I don't know how they would play that off.
Because she's got to drink like 80 shots a night. It's usually all water or tiny bit, just watered down all the way. By the end of one hostess's shift, maybe she has 80 shots. That's $400 to the establishment, and she'll probably get half of that, which is $200. Now, some surveys show that girls that worked 5 hours a night for 6 nights a week at these hostess bars made anywhere between $2,400 to $3,600 a week.
So are you actually saying that she is a hostess then, and not him? Then what the heck does he do?
Which is around $9,600 or $14,400 a month. That's not including bonuses, commissions, personal tips and gifts given by the clients. At some hostess clubs, if someone comes in requesting you by name, they're like, hey, I want to sit with Stephanie, you get like $100 just for them dropping your name. There are some hostesses that make close to 6 figures or even more than 6 figures per month. Now, there are different levels to hostess clubs. You've got gentlemen's clubs, and these are the ones where a lot of nakedness is involved. There's dancing. This is kind of more on par with the Western strip club. Then you have no pants cafes. I thought this was so interesting.
I don't know if I've heard anything like that before.
Knew these existed. It's quite literally a coffee shop, but the hostesses are naked from the waist down. You can't touch them. You can only look. But like imagine just being served your espresso martini and then, they're all naked. There's no pants shabu shabu shops. There's no pants karaoke shops, but no touching.
Never heard of that. I'm almost like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. She just must be meaning like no pants as in they have underwear on. Like there's no way.
Then there's touch available hostess clubs. There's a word for it in Japanese, but customers are allowed to grope hostesses above the waist whenever they want. Wow. But nothing below the waist and nothing underneath the clothing. Then the most common is the no touching hostess clubs. If you try to touch the hostess or proposition her for anything, you'll be thrown out. Now, How much do the managers actually enforce these rules? It just depends on the class of the hostess club. The more expensive a club, the more strict they are in no touching, no groping, no conversations. At the end of the day, it's like Disneyland. That's how they call it. That's what the hostesses say. It's a fantasy that's being sold. So is Disney. The customer is the most important man in the world, and you can't wait to jump in his bed one day, but you can't because the stars aren't aligned for that and you would get fired. But you love him so much. It's a fantasy. You get paid, the client gets an ego boost, and everybody wins.
Okay, so let's say this is the other way around now, because I'm thinking maybe he was a host, and then she was going off and seeing him and paying him. But if she has a lot of money, and then we're saying he doesn't, so we don't know what he does, he's going to the hostess club, and he probably works an office job that makes a lot of money, and he's been giving her a lot of money, and that's why she is able to afford this place, I'm guessing. And then she's actually going to be like, hey, I want to be with you. Let's go be together, etc. So it makes sense if he's constantly going to this place and seeing her all the time, that if one of them actually propositioned him to be with them, then be like, oh, okay, I actually got to host this, or whatever. So now that seems where the story's going. Which again, I didn't know any of this. Like, I'm just here. Like, why are we talking about hostess for so long?
And interestingly enough, okay, before people are like, oh, that's crazy that they do this in Japan. Interestingly enough, Japanese men are the most observant of the rules, and they're the most transactional, meaning they get what they pay for and they're very content. It's said it's usually the Western or foreign travelers, the passport bros, that will start screaming and yelling when a hostess does not let him touch her.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Crazy. But once a customer becomes a bit more of a regular, how do you keep bringing them into this hostess club? There's something called dohans, and just everything that I say for a hostess club, there's almost an exact equivalent for a host club, just the male to female version, right? Now, this is another chance for hostesses to make more money. It said dohans can bring in an extra few $1,000s, up to like $10,000 per month additionally to the payment that they're already receiving. So they can make like $20,000 a month. Some clubs don't give you the option of not doing tohans, but tohans are private dates with top clients. You go on a dinner date with a client, then you say, well, I have to go in for work, but
Like, I was wondering what we're gonna be doing with this. I was assuming it's gonna be like some sort of like pseudo girlfriend, like a fake girlfriend experience on top of what's already happening, I guess. So that's basically what this is.
go on a dinner date with a client, then you say, well, I have to go in for work, but I don't want to leave you. You should come back to the club with me. Call your friends. So they come back to the club, and usually the men spend more and more money at the club if they're going to these tohans with the girls. He gets to enjoy an evening out with an attractive young woman. He feels like he's getting looks by passerbys of like, how did he get such a young, pretty woman? He must be rich. He must be special.
I mean, you'd think that hostess stuff is so common, and everybody knows about it. They're like, oh yeah, that's probably just a hostess. Instead of, well, how did he do that? It's like, oh, look at him. He's a businessman, clearly. She's a pretty lady. Hostess.
It looks good for him. He becomes more attached to not even the girl necessarily, but to that feeling. He becomes attached to that ego boost, how he feels about himself. So he keeps going to the club, keeps going to tohans. The hostesses, they win because technically they make more money and they get free meals. But the reality of it is, I'm sure, is terrifying. I'm sure it's scary what clients try to do when managers and bouncers aren't around. And speaking of managers at these types of clubs are a different breed. And this is kind of pertinent because one of the people in today's story is a manager at a hostess club.
Okay, so I was like, do we know about the manager? I mean, we haven't gotten too far into the video, but we've just been talking about hostess stuff for like 15, well, not necessarily 15 minutes. Let's say like for 10 minutes now. We have not gotten to like the meat and bones of this. We just need this huge explanation for hostess stuff first before we get into the actual case of what happened with this girl.
Okay, managers, they watch over the girls like a gambler with a hand of cards. That's how they're best described. Every girl in a club has their own strengths and weaknesses, and the manager has to utilize them like little weapons. She has to do it carefully. Hostesses are in and out of each table, constantly swapping, but it's done in a way where the customers, they don't feel weird about it. It feels natural, like a river flowing around, trickling down. A lot of the hostess clubs will operate by the hour. So get this, there's a science to it. Right upon entering, customers are seated with the most attractive girls. They sit down with the girls, they start drinking. If they're not connecting, the girls are seamlessly swapped with new girls. But it doesn't seem like, oh, they're not connecting, let's swap them. It's more like, oh, I gotta go real quick. And then new girls come over very naturally. But if all goes well, the top girls, they stay. And the main goal is to get to the customer for that second hour mark. Because even if you pass the 1 hour mark by a minute, they have to pay for that full second hour. And then the manager will immediately take away the pretty girls that they just spent an hour connecting to, swap them with new, less attractive girls. Now, if the clients want the original girls,
I mean, objectively, less attractive. Who knows if this guy would have liked the new girls better than the old ones? So objectively, objectively or subjectively? Subjectively, sorry. Subjectively less attractive? Question mark. Yeah, subjectively less attractive. I know I said objectively. Forget I said objectively. Subjectively less attractive. Again, like, who knows what the client's quote unquote tastes are. So you're saying you're giving him less attractive people, but maybe the people you've given him are actually what he wants over than what you had at the beginning.
back, the manager will either say, ooh, sorry, you have to specifically pay for her, which is an additional couple $100s for an hour. Okay, or they'll be told, I'm so sorry, she has a reservation with the top client right now, but she'll be back in half an hour. Make them sit around for 30 minutes. She comes back, they're happy, they're excited, and then they push into the third hour. The managers are able to watch the clients like a hawk without even making it obvious. They always say, if a man walks to the bathroom and he even glances at his wrist where his watch is or takes out his phone, he's thinking about leaving. If he just rushes to the bathroom, rushes out, that's fine. But if he even takes a side second to look at his watch, that's it. So when he gets back at his table, what do you know? The prettiest girls are all there waiting for him. Or sometimes they're standing outside the restroom asking him, where'd you go for so long? And they'll take his hand and escort him back to the table while giggling. And now that beautiful girl is begging for a bottle of champagne that she's never tasted because it's so expensive. And she's thirsty. Usually a bottle of champagne at high-end establishments like this easily go for $500. So before they know it, the wealthy businessman is spending upwards of a few $1,000s in a single night. And it's all about picking the right hostesses. Typically, the most successful hostesses across the board are considered naive and innocent by men. They are perceived, keyword, perceived, by the clients to be less intelligent than them. So they're not intimidating. Then eventually came the emergence of host clubs, which are basically the same concept, but now it's male host catering to female customers. And it's fascinating. There was a gender studies professor who took a deep
Okay, so now we're going into host clubs.
dive into the host clubs of Japan. Because, there's always that sentiment when men are attracted to work, it's like, oh, men are men. But then when girls are attracted to, they're like, why would a girl spend money on such a dumb thing, right? I mean, clearly it makes sense for both genders to be into it, but there's some psychological and societal movements that pushed host clubs. First one, women started working a lot more. So they got a lot of disposable income and they're staying single for a lot longer. They're not getting married. They're not settling down.
Oh yeah, I mean, specifically talking about Japan, Japan's in a birth rate crisis right now. Still, they've been in a birth rate crisis for a long time. I think it's just getting worse and worse. I'm not sure. Maybe it's getting better. I haven't heard any news of it getting better. I've only heard it getting worse and worse and worse. So they're at risk of just not necessarily going extinct, but that's a crazy thing to say. But I mean, maybe in 100 years, maybe 100 might be a bit too soon. In 1,000 years, they might actually do that if they stop having children for so long. So many generations of not having children. You're eventually going to run out of people. But yeah, again, people are staying single longer. No one's trying to date. They're too tired from working. They don't have time to put up with a relationship, so they don't get into any. And they just do stuff like this. They just give all the money to hostesses and hosts. I guess now with the new age of VTubers, give their money to VTubers, uh, influencers, etc. Because it's just easier to do that rather than try to connect, I guess, with someone and try to get a relationship, try to have kids, etc., etc. Yeah, it's like the same thing that I was saying at the beginning. Like, it goes both ways. Like, it's not just like, oh, this is just a guy thing. Guys only want this kind of attention, or they only want, relations. Relations. I'm using air quotes here. Um, it's both ways. Just like the serial killer thing. Serial killer kills a bunch of male. Serial killer kills a bunch of people. They go to jail. Women are literally tripping over themselves to get a piece of him. And now we have this thing, this case. Whenever we actually ended up getting to it, because we are about to be 20 minutes into this story. Um, uh, Woman does some crazy stuff, but she's conventionally attractive. Men are going to be again tripping over themselves to get to her. That's just how it works.
Which, side note, a huge customer base for host clubs are married housewives, but let's not get into that. So a lot of these single women, they'll spend money at a host club. And additionally, the host clubs do the same thing for women. So they provide princess treatment. So you know how like the hostesses stroke the male's ego? Well, when you walk in, I was thinking, Magic Mike. I'm thinking it's like Vegas. Shirtless, ripped men that's like humping the floor. Sit on this chair. Let me rub on you. No.
That's Western women want that, right?
You walk in, they hand you a moist towelette. You sit down. They give you a blanket if you're wearing a skirt so you can preserve your modesty. And they sit and they ask about your mundane day. And maybe if it's your second time coming and the last time you came was 2 months ago, they'll be like, how's Steve doing? You're like, how do you know my dog's name? You mentioned it 5 months ago when you stopped by.
Wow.
I'm sure they've got journals or something because this is crazy. Their attention to detail, their memory, it's wild. They pour your drinks, they laugh at your jokes, they ask you questions about your life, and they seem genuinely interested in everything that you have to say. If you have to use the restroom, all the hosts in the room stand up. It's so chivalrous. It's like the dream first date.
I mean, they're all being treated like princesses in this situation, and ego stroking in the other one. But how it's usually portrayed in anime is like, I mean, it's probably just because it's anime. There's archetypes of men, I guess women too. I don't know about the ones with women because I've only seen the Orion High School Host Club, right? That's about men. And I've also seen the what is it called? It's something like How I Wound Up at an All-Guy Mixer. And it's just a story about three guys who end up at a mixer with three other guys, but the other three guys are like women dressed as men because they work at a host club, but all the hosts there are women dressed up as men, and they refer to it as drag queens, but they are just normal women that just happen to dress up like men because just women can just look like hot guys easily. Well, maybe Asian women, but again, it's just host clubs again. In both scenarios, it's archetypal, right? You have this archetype, you have the bad boy, the good boy. Uh, in Orion High School host club, you have the twins and whatnot. So I'm wondering if they actually do that in real life. So maybe some of these girls want the princess treatment, but maybe they want the stupid Bakugo treatment. If you know what I'm talking about, Bakugo from My Hero Academia, like any characters like that, which I hate. I hate those characters. Which means I hate Bakugo. So sorry to anybody who's obsessed with the incredibly angry boy archetype, but I hate those guys. I wonder if they actually have like the hot-headed ruffian archetypes in these host clubs. Like, oh, I want to be berated by some asshole. Excuse the language. or what? I'd assume so, right?
Your host, the one that you're sitting next to, will walk you to the restroom door, wait outside just in case, I don't know, you get accidentally flushed down the toilet bowl.
That
It's
happens,
just
right?
so nice. And they don't dress like super ripped and they actually dress pretty feminine. They wear makeup.
Oh, I mean, sure. I've only seen them wearing suits, like full suits, so that's what I was expecting. Like they're not naked, obviously. It's just full suits. I don't know what they wear at host clubs or hostess clubs. I mean, just dresses, right? Skirts and tops.
They have long, brightly colored, like almost anime style hair. When was the last time you went on a date and a guy was like doing all of that, right? So that's why host clubs, they took off.
What the heck?
I have something
Oh, middle of her sentence.
really niche but crazy useful to add to your holiday wish list. If you are a business
Was
owner
not
or thinking
expecting
of
that.
starting a
Okay, so we got an ad here out of nowhere. But yeah, we are really going on about the host. I was not expecting the host stuff to be going on for so long. Because again, we're like 20 minutes in. Now we got to do some ad reads for who knows how long. Though, I don't know what we're going to be doing next. Probably the 1500 killer. Like, the silent killer that killed like 15,000 kids or something. We'll probably watch that. I might even watch it today. Because again, like I said, the timing. I'm just out of time. I'm just doing this all day. That it's just so oof. It's just so annoying. So I might have to do a second episode and then upload that tomorrow, so that I can actually have a breather to be able to upload these videos and not have to worry about how long it takes to upload them. Because these videos take about as long as well, on a good day, they take as long as the video is. So if this is a 2-hour video, it's going to take 2 hours to upload. But because of the timing, like I said at the beginning, it's not going to be 2 hours. So it's probably going to be closer to 4. So it means if I'm too late recording the video and then uploading it, it will not make the 6 p.m. mark by today. So I have to start doing these in advance now, I think, at this point. Yeah, we might be doing the 1500s killer. We might be doing the K-pop one because it is one of it's her second most popular video, I think, is a K-pop video about this K-pop group that started a bar or club that was trafficking women and selling drugs, and there might even be a second part to that too. So we might do that one at some time, but we're probably gonna do the 1500 killer next, just because it's short. It's another hour-long video, and I need a break just so I can actually get get a better schedule for these things.
Give your business the gift of stamps.com so your mailing and shipping is covered this holiday season. Get a 4-week trial.
The stamps. I forget what stamps is. I mean, obviously she's been talking about it this whole time. I'm guessing it's like a discounts on stuff. It would make sense, I think. Is she gonna do a double? She did a double ad read last time, right? So I don't know if she's
Some
also
host bar clients that were interviewed said, I don't think host clubs would be so popular if Japanese men were more into doing stuff like this when they were dating.
A lot to learn here.
And what's
I mean, isn't he already married? Aren't you already married to this woman? I don't think you already won, right? You won the lottery. Again, what did I keep saying? This. I said this the last time, and I bring it up a lot. Something in her hands. What is that? Is that like a subtle product drop? Like you advertising that? It might just be a marker this time around, but again, she always likes to have something in her hands.
interesting is that
This looks
there's
like
a lot of discourse saying like, oh, women are so naive. Like these girls are so desperate. They walk into host clubs thinking these men actually want to date them. It's actually not like that either. Women go in the same way men go in. They know it's a transaction and that's what they're looking for. That's why a lot of housewives go. They're like, I'm not leaving my husband for some random 19-year-old. I'm in here to stroke my own ego and feel feminine. So just as how men go in for their ego, the professor said, women actually go in to feel young. That's the main, like they both go in not for love or romance. They're literally going in for their own egos. That's it. And the hosts even admit that they change their personalities based on what they think the customer in front of them wants out of this transaction. A lot of male hosts say, we're just here to sell dreams. And those dreams, they cost a lot of money, even for women. The first time being at a host club works a bit differently from the type of hostess clubs that I just described. So there are also hostess clubs that operate like this, but most of it is kind of for host clubs. The way it works is, let's say you and your 3 girlfriends, you can't go in with a guy into most host clubs. Most foreigners are not allowed in upscale host clubs either.
Really?
Yes. Oh, the only way that you can go in with another man is if it's couples. So if it's like us walking together and if we spoke Japanese, they don't let in foreigners because they think communication is the biggest thing of host clubs.
Right.
Yeah, you need to be able to talk. That's what you're getting out of it. So if you can't speak Japanese, then there's moot point. They do have foreigner host clubs though. They all speak English. Now, if you go in with a group of 3 women, then you will be sat host girl, host girl, host girl, right? This is just your first time going in.
I think you see what I'm saying here. Like they're all just wearing suits and whatnot. So not exactly what I was expecting to see. I was expecting to see like K-pop boys or like J-pop boys, I guess. These are just like a regular guy. Assuming, like, what is going on here? Is this an old lady? This guy has long hair. We can't see his face, so sure. But this guy looks like a middle-aged man, right? I wasn't expecting to see middle-aged man at these host clubs. I mean, this guy maybe. It's just like if you watch anime, they make them look like, you know, J-pop boys, K-pop boys. But that's just anime, right? Everything is gonna look better, question mark, in anime.
Every 5 to 10 minutes, the host club manager will ring a bell that everyone can hear and the host will rotate. But not amongst friends. So the 3 hosts in the room will get up, leave a business card, and 3 new hosts will walk in. And this goes on for 1 hour. So you pay for your very first hour like this.
Is it because they want to find out who they connect the best?
Yes. And at the end, you know, you get kind of a menu of all the hosts on there and you go through them to get a refresher and cross-reference with the business cards in your hand. So let's say my friend had a host that I liked. I can't be with that host.
Really?
They're really crazy about not creating like these tense environments.
Okay.
And so I only get to choose the host that I've spoken to.
So since we're going off of like a platter of choices of men here, again, I feel like it is the whole thing of, okay, we have a bunch of archetypes of men. I don't know anything about the female hostess ones, just because you don't have entire animes devoted to hostess. I'm pretty sure, like, which is kind of weird. I don't think I've ever seen or heard of a hostess anime. But you literally have the original Orion High School Host Club, which is what, from the 2000s, if not the 90s. I think 90s might be a bit far, but the 2000s. That's how old. That's a 20-year-old anime. They were doing this host stuff. So it's just the only time you ever see hostess clubs is in just a lot, like they're in anime, just as a background thing, not actually as like part of the plot. It's just, oh yes, you might see a businessman go into a hostess club or something like that in an anime, but it has nothing to do with the show itself. Like the entire show doesn't revolve around the host club, like Orion High School Host Club or how I ended up at an all guys mixer. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like maybe the men, like the hosts' variations, are more archetypal, or that rather than the hostess are just, they're all just ditzes, right? The host clubs, you have a variety of flavors to choose from. Question mark.
And they will make you choose. I read a lot of blogs of people that went for the first time. They make you choose. They're like, pick your favorite. You're like, hee, I can't. They're all so nice. They're like, no, just pick one. Just pick a random one then. So you pick one. They basically force you to exchange line details with them, which is like Kakao Talk or WeChat, WhatsApp. And from there, if you ever visit this host bar again, this is your designated host in perpetuity. So unless this host leaves the club, you can't really change. It's really hard to.
Wow.
Yeah. That's going to be your host every time you walk in. And now it's up to that host to bring you back into the club. They will keep following up with you online, try to build some connection with you so it doesn't feel like a sale, or at least it shouldn't feel like one. Instead of asking you, hey, when are you going to come back to the club? What day are you want to come back to the bar? Let's make an appointment. He's probably reaching out to you, sending you a picture of the night sky or what he's eating for lunch. You're like, oh, I guess I'll respond because that's kind of nice, right? And then once that connection is built, you want to see him again, but you realize the only way that you can see him is at the club while you're spending your hard-earned money. So the first time you go, it's like $10 an hour for all you can drink for an entire hour, and then you pick a host. But after that,
I mean, $10
you've got to
is
buy a
nothing.
bottle, and you have to buy drinks for your host because that's etiquette. And that very easily could turn into 1 to 2 hours, and you've completely blown $500 down the drain. It's said that on average, depending on the scale of the establishment, you can, on the low end, blow anywhere between $150 to $300 a night, and it can go up to like $10,000 in a night at the high-end host clubs. And just like most hostess clubs, there is no activity allowed at host clubs. But from what I can gather, and from what
I don't know. I feel like it would be not necessarily the opposite, but sure, like you say, most of them would be like none of that stuff. But I think just because it's a woman to men, I think they'd be more lax within. They'd just be like, okay, that's fine. That's just how it is. Like we're not gonna pretend like there isn't double standards in the world. Like sure, men should not be touching women, but say it should be the same thing the other way around. But again, I think it just people would be more lax with a woman feeling up on a man rather than the other way around. So that's why I would assume that they would let it slide if a woman started feeling up a guy in these clubs, unless the guy like was really like, oh my god, this is you make me so uncomfortable. I'm out of here. Then sure, but I feel like some guys would just be like, they wouldn't even say anything about it. They would just like let it slide. You could argue the same at a hostess club, just because standards they're scared, right? But I don't know.
what I've been told by our Japanese researchers, a lot of hosts will engage in sex work, but they'll do it off hours. So they will come back to your place with you, or perhaps a love motel, and they will get paid under the table for those services without sharing a cut with the bar. And the bar is okay with it because that's technically illegal. So they're okay with it because you would think, oh, why don't we get a cut of it, right? But they're saying whatever you do that helps bring that customer back in more and more, that's on you. And that's
She's talking about hosts, so apparently hosts are, excuse the language, it's just, that's how I want to say it, and it's like the least, probably the easiest way to say it without getting in trouble, but I don't even really need to care about getting in trouble because I'm not monetized, so I don't have to worry about YouTube screwing me over. Yeah, like the hosts will be turning tricks on the side, which is interesting to see or hear about, because I don't know if I heard about hostess doing that, but like the hosts are out here turning tricks after hours, which is interesting. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? But it's just like interesting to hear that the guys are out here turning tricks in Japan.
that's illegal if you're doing sex work, like
So
full
we don't want to
intercourse.
know.
Yeah, we don't want to know. We don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. And for some people, this business is crazy lucrative. One of the highest paid hosts in Japan is actually a celebrity of sorts. His name is Roland. He's made a brand for himself being the most sought after host. It's said that he makes almost
He's doing too much for me. Too much.
$500,000 per month.
What? I'm like wearing these glasses upside down. Like I said, trying to be like, oh, I'm so fashionable, but like really, you put your glasses on right, please.
Per month.
Oh, I didn't hear what she said about how much he makes.
Made a brand for himself being the most sought after host. It's said that he makes almost $500,000 per month.
Oof.
Per month. He drives a Ferrari. In 2018, he threw a birthday party at his host club for his birthday. He made $400,000 that night. People showed up to celebrate him, to buy him drinks, to just fawn over him. And he's a character. He said there are only two types of men, me and the rest. He said, I often stare into a girl's eyes and say, your face is so beautiful, but I'm really looking at my own reflection in the girl's eyes.
Oh, shit.
And you would think, like, when I'm saying it, it sounds crazy. He comes off cocky and annoying. He sounds like the epitome of every guy that girls hate, right? But if you watch the interviews where he says it, it's so playful. His communication, his body language is so playful. It feels like he's not taking it seriously. And it almost makes you feel more comfortable around him.
Right.
It breaks down this wall of like, oh my God, this is the most successful host and he makes how much a month? It like breaks it down and he's basically poking fun at himself. It's so fascinating. But he did a house tour with a YouTuber and every surface of his bedroom is a mirror. He said so that when he has girls over, he can see every angle. Yeah.
Oh.
女の子と遊ぶ時とかに、
はい。
So like when I've hold on. Didn't
Or
need to
he
see
can
that.
see every angle. Yeah.
Oh.
女の子と遊
But like when I've got girls
ぶ
over,
時とかに、
はい
こうなんかいろんな角度が
so you can see things from all different angles.
見られるのちょっとなんか
He was also asked in an interview how many women he slept with, and he very smoothly, without even skipping a beat, says, "Do you drink coffee?" The interviewer is like, "Yes." "Do you remember how many cups of coffee you've had?"
Wow.
Yeah. But Roland is the exception. And, you know, he's at the height of the industry. The others, they make a lot less, way less. I mean, some of them are just now starting to make enough money that they're not living paycheck to paycheck. And these days, the competition is getting even more intense. And it's one of those industries that fluctuates with the economy. There are over 11,000 host and hostess clubs in the red light district of Tokyo alone. And Phoenix Luna had just started working at one of those clubs.
Okay, Phoenix Luna is after half an hour, half of this video, are we finally going to talk about her? Is this Phoenix Luna? Is this woman or go roll me back?
Tokyo alone, and Phoenix Luna had just started working at one of those clubs. To a lot of other guys at the club, it was a chance to be the next Roland. For Phoenix Luna, it was just free housing, honestly, okay? Phoenix had such a
Okay, so no, it is what I originally thought. So Phoenix is the host, okay? So that means this girl was coming to him.
rough upbringing. I mean, from what we know, his parents, they separated really early on. So Phoenix and his 6 siblings were sent off to live in this foster care orphanage institution. And it was just not a good place. All the kids there were already pretty traumatized, and they just weren't receiving adequate parental love or compassion. You know, they were treated like adults too early on. Most of the kids, they actually left the institution around middle school age because of how bad it was. And Phoenix, he leaves, no degree in a place like Japan, hard. Not even a high school diploma, impossible. So this middle schooler is getting jobs in construction. And it seems very likely that even if he wanted to work hard, he just kept getting scammed by all these adult bosses that wanted him to perform cheap labor for like next to nothing. Eventually, he was left penniless and without a home. He would just bounce around from hostels and PC bangs. I don't know what they call it in Japanese, but it's like 24-hour internet cafes. He's trying to take naps there. And it's rough. So he thinks, you know, why don't I try something crazy? Let's see if a host bar will take me. Host bars are known to provide dorms for a lot of the hosts that work at the clubs, and that was enough for him. Even if he doesn't get paid right away, at least he's got a place to sleep. A lot of the host bars loved him. He just has the look for being a host, and he's very good with people. Even though you would think that his childhood made him very kind of pulled away from society and closed off, he actually was very good.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like host, that's kind of what I would expect to see from a host, is what that guy looks like. Just your standard K-pop, J-pop boy.
He wasn't overly out there, overly talkative, just very genuine. So he starts at Club Fusion, and this is not a rags to riches story. He does okay. He quickly ranks up to be the 4th host in the bar, and each club, they have a ranking system, and a lot of the times, they will post pictures of their top 5 hosts or hostesses on the wall behind the reception desk, numbered and everything. So it's like number 1 host, picture, number 2 host, picture. And it's kind of a shitty system because it keeps number 1, number 1. People walk in, they don't know anything about this place. All they see is, hey, that guy must be popular for a reason. There must be something special about him. And they'll request him and they'll be told, hey, you know, he actually charges a lot more because he's higher in demand. And you're like, well, okay, I guess I'll pay it. And it's a never ending cycle of keeping the top host at the top. So Phoenix is ranked number 4, but he's not killing it. He's not making a ton of money. He's doing okay. Now, here's something fascinating about host and hostess clubs. A lot of the customers are other hosts and hostesses.
What?
So, for example, some
Okay, what was that story? I just remembered. It was a Lazy Masquerade video, right? There was a woman, right? Was it Masquerade? There's some story we just heard of that was a Japanese story where I think the lady was a hostess. Okay, I got it now. This is the same one I was thinking of. The lady is a hostess. She gets a lot of money from being a hostess, but then after hours goes to host clubs and then gives all her money to the hosts. which is what she's talking about. Like they just after once they're done, they just go to the opposite and just go give all the money away. I think this is the one where she was. This is the streamer who was killed on camera, on live stream. I'm not sure. She was taking all the money from that guy. Like, there's too many stories getting mixed together. But I just know there was some sort of story where there was a hostess who just was giving all her money to hosts, which is like a never-ending cycle.
Hostesses will get off their shift of entertaining men all day. And I'm sure it's so draining. They just want someone to entertain them. So they find themselves at host clubs, paying for the very same thing that they sell. Companionship, ego boost, and vice versa for hosts that go to hostess bars. And now one of these clients was Yuka Takaoka. And she comes in to Club Fusion. She's a 21-year-old hostess with straight brown-black hair and big eyes. A lot of people said that she looks like a cat, and that got her a lot of loyal clients as a hostess. But now she's at a host bar specifically looking for Phoenix Luna. That's his host name, by the way. His legal name is protected by Japanese courts.
Okay, so they're both hostess and host. And then we're doing the thing, like I said, where the hostess will just go to the host clubs.
She said that Phoenix had come into her hostess bar like a year ago, long time ago, with a bunch of like hosts. Okay, maybe like a few months ago. And he just kind of really stuck out to her. Months passed and she kept remembering, oh my God, like I keep thinking about that really cute guy that had come in. She finds him on Twitter, starts DMing him. And he's like, well, you can always visit me at my club. So she does. Starting from March 2019, this is important, Yuka starts going to see Phoenix at a club 2 to 3 times a week. And she's like, you're ranked number 4. We should change that. I can help you to get to number 1. I'll order 2 more bottles tonight.
Wow.
And she's reassuring him like, no, it's fine. Like I have the money. Don't worry. She would go as far to spend $6,000 in one night to help him raise ranks. Every single club has a high earner song. A lot of host clubs adopted this thing where every single night, the host who makes the most money that night will start singing on stage when it's time to start closing up. And
Well, I guess they better start getting singing lessons in. Or like, what if they don't know how to sing?
this song is not like everybody's cleaning and the custodians have come out and they're just singing and nobody is listening. It's more like a concert, like an idol concert, and they're being fawned over, and the host club makes it seem like this grand gesture for the host to have this honor of singing for the patrons. They kind of make it like that. So these clients, they feel pride if they helped their host get to that spot by the end of the
Wow.
night.
Yes.
And Yuka was one of them. She would spend $10,000 in one night just to get him up there to sing. Phoenix didn't argue because that's the whole point of his job. It's to make money. And Yuka said that she was a manager at a hostess bar. I mean, he could kind of let his guard down a little bit with her out of anyone. Like if anyone knows that this is a transactional business and that there's no
Let's roll that back.
her
That image.
out of anyone.
Oh, well, we need more than that. Bin Bim? What is that? But we have Tokimeki here. But Tokimeki Nuopun? That's not. Is it? No, that's not that. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know. We have just Tokimeki. I don't know what that means. Bin Bim. And I think this just says new open. And 60 minutes is what this is saying. And this is just kanji. I don't know. 3,000 yen probably there. And then whatever the heck that says down there.
I mean, he could kind of let his guard down a little bit with her out of anyone. Like if anyone knows that this is a transactional business and that there's no real romance or love or attraction, it would be Yuka. She's in the same industry, doing the same thing to men, so she should know, right? She's half Chinese, half Japanese. Yeah, she was born in China actually in 1998. But they moved to Japan when she was 2 years old.
I hear that. You hear the interest in his voice. He's already fallen for it. The yandere. He's really intrigued in this woman. He's gonna need to watch out. He's simping.
And like she threw chairs at people. That was
What
a
do
thing
you
in her
mean?
childhood. Yeah, in high school. Let me give you some backstory. Yuka had a very creative personality. She has this very cute, naive girl next door appeal to her, and it's very easy for her to get male attention. That's what
I mean, that was just the That was just an archetype back in the day. I mean, not necessarily back in the day, but that's just an archetype over the last decade. I haven't seen it too much recently, but like that literally was just an archetype of woman online. That's nothing new.
Everybody said she had boyfriend after boyfriend in high school, and this is no shame, by the way. What is shame, though, is she exhibited some alarming behavior even as a kid. One time someone insulted her boyfriend and Yuka got mad and hurled a chair at them, just like rage throwing chairs at a high school kid for probably saying your boyfriend's not that cute. It's a
I
little
mean, she did say that she threw chairs, so.
weird. So after high school, Yuka drops out of college and she's like, I'm just going to focus on making money. She starts hostessing at a bar and she was a spectacular hostess. She knew how to stroke men's egos. She knew how to make them feel good. And she really does have the perfect innocent girl look that people really prefer in the hostess scene. She ends up so good at her job, she becomes the manager of the place. And remember what I said about managers? They're cutthroat. They know how to move people around. They know people. They're quick on picking up social cues and signals. None of her coworkers had anything bad to say about her. They said, there's actually a lot of competition at hostess bars. Like you would think everyone's hee hee ha ha and friendly, but it's cutthroat. But even when Yuka wasn't the manager, you could actually go to her for advice. And you didn't feel like she's giving you bad advice to try and backstab you or has a different motive. She was just very nice. She just seemed safe to be around. I guess unless she wanted to date you. After visiting Phoenix a few times at the host bar, Yuka finds herself thinking about this man every waking second of every day of her life. Her existence revolves around this man. Everything she sees, she's like, oh my God, that reminds me of Phoenix.
I mean, she is like full yandere, right? So we already know the outcome.
Oh my God, every thought that she has becomes about Phoenix. It starts consuming her. He was the last thing that she thought about before going to bed, and he was her everything. She would lay there thinking about him, waiting for a new message online to pop up, and then she would check her bank account, and all the money she saved up in her career was gone. She had blew it all at his club. And she's not a Nepo baby. She's not a millionaire. She did not have the funds to be spending like this. But she felt like there's just no other way to see him, unless I go to his bar, unless I spend money on him. So
If you get together, all your money just goes right back to you, right? If you're together, it's y'all's money now.
she feels like, well, it's fine though. This is an investment. He likes me and I like him, and we can't be together right now because of his job at the host club, but eventually we'll be together. To ensure that, she would even pay close to $9,000 a month to exclusively reserve him as her host. So remember how I said you can spend hundreds of dollars an hour, like your second or third time at a host club? You don't get your host for a full hour. They're in and out of tables because they've got other clients coming in. So you probably maybe get them for like max 20 minutes. So $9,000 a month, and anytime Yuka comes in, she still has to spend money, but he cannot go to any other client. Even if another client comes in, he cannot go. But if she's not there, he's free to see all his clients that he wants. He just has to drop everyone to go with her if she's there. And that $9,000 is not unlimited. That's just the base pay. She still has to pay what every client does when they come in and buy drinks. So in just 2 months, Phoenix goes from being ranked number 4 to rank number 1 at the club, all thanks to Yuka.
Wow.
But she didn't have the funds to keep paying for all of this, so she had to join a delivery health company to make some extra money. Delivery health is exactly what you think.
I don't know.
They deliver 24-hour dispatch-style services straight to your door. If you're feeling a little bit sick or a little bit under the weather, they will dispatch a sexy nurse to show up at your door and have sex with you.
Okay, that's not what I was thinking. Saying dispatch health, I thought it was like, oh, we are sending you like some medicine. We'll deliver you medicine or something like that. I did not think it was just delivery prostitution.
Yeah, they call it delivery health. I found it very fascinating. They also have hotel health, which are hotels that also have sex workers on call. So you like book in, and instead of getting room service, you get other services. It's fascinating. Yeah. And the nurse, side note, they're not actually dressed like nurses because you have to pay extra for costume play, but they will usually have a chaperone that's waiting outside your house to make sure that they make it out okay with no issues. There's even delivery health pickup. A lot of guys actually like this. So instead of having the girl come straight to their apartment door, they'll actually meet up at like in front of a convenience store. And they said there's a thrill of walking her back to your home And these light conversations, that's where there's a lot of tension building.
Feels real, maybe.
Yes, and you can even add on purchases before you meet her in front of the convenience store. And one of the more popular add-on purchases is that she comes with a hidden, she hands you a remote. And there is obviously something
I know what
that
she's
has
talking
been
about.
placed within her body that you can
We're talking about toys.
control in public as you're walking back to your apartment. And this is just one level of the kind of like adult services that they provide in Japan. They also have soap houses. I went down a
No
rabbit
clue what
hole.
that
Soap
is.
houses
She's just talking about stuff I haven't heard of. But I've never heard of this delivery health stuff. I didn't even think Japan had such, so many business-esque trick turns. Like, what? I assume they didn't have it because it is illegal, right? To do this kind of stuff. So I just expected to not just have that kind of stuff. I mean, we have escorts here, right? And I feel like that's kind of the under the table thing of like, oh, escorts don't actually do that, but they actually do that? Question mark. So again, I don't really know about that either, but maybe that's just like the thing you would see on like in stories or in videos or whatnot, or movies, shows, etc. Like you have an escort, and they're just supposed to be there just to hang out with you, but of course, they're also turning tricks, right? So you don't really know what's going on with that. But what is she about to say? Because she's getting excited for some reason about this rabbit hole of prostitution.
that they provide in Japan. They also have soap houses. I went down a rabbit hole.
Oh,
Soap
wait. Let me
houses are
guess.
fascinating. So
Is that like a bathhouse? Like a bathhouse that you go to get a girl and take a bath with? Question mark. That's what I'm gonna assume.
they also have soap houses. I went down a rabbit hole. Soap houses are fascinating. So they're bathhouses
Yes.
turned into sex work.
That's what I thought. Like that's the only thing that something called a soap house could be.
You go in and you book a bath. So each room has a private bath, and it's all about like a very sensual bath experience. And then afterwards, there's payment for other activities. Yet the pricing on all of this is really intense. Like if you get delivery health and you didn't shower prior to the meeting, they will charge you for not showering prior to the meeting, which honestly, it makes sense. But regardless, Yuka hated it. She hates working at Delivery Health, and it's starting to take a toll on her mentally. But she feels like it's gonna pay off eventually. Phoenix Luna is gonna make enough money, he's gonna quit his job, and then we're gonna move in together. Side note, she never told Phoenix that she's doing Delivery Health on the side. She just said that she's got the bar that she manages, and she has this crazy rich sugar daddy that takes her on dinner dates and pays her a big sum of money. She felt like she's hiding the truth for this heroic cause, their love story. She said she basically got confirmation of the plan of moving in together when she told him that she loved him, to which he responded, at the club, mind you, at the club. He said, "Love you too, let's get married one day in the future." She claims that he told her that he wanted to move in with her a year after he quit his job. Which, first of all, we're not even sure if this is what he said, but second of all, it's kind of like going to a
Yeah, we're just assuming what he said. Also, the fact that we don't know what he says implies that he's not okay and he died. So I thought he died. He might be in a coma. He might. We can only hope that maybe he's still alive and he's just in this permanent state of a coma for now. Maybe he'll wake up one day. But I could have sworn he died, but I don't know.
strip club and a dancer tells you that they're only here to pay for school, it could be true, it could be a lie, but as a customer, you're not really entitled to know the truth. And it's not uncommon for popular hosts to kind of live with their top clients. So top clients will have their apartment if they're single, or if they're married, they'll have a secondary apartment if they're really loaded. And then that host will come stay like every Wednesdays and Thursdays. It's still very transactional, but it is kind of like, oh, partly we move in together part-time. It's definitely not in the traditional sense. And if anyone should have known that, it would have been Yuka, but she's in too deep. April of 2019, they had intimate relations at a love motel, and this only drove Yuka further into this delusion that they were Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, so he actually went through with having relations with her. Don't know why he did that, but like she's giving him so much money, I felt like he didn't need to do that, assuming that this wasn't just consensual, well, and it was like him turning a trick. as they are said to do.
That's how she saw this situation. They desperately want to be together, but because of life circumstances, they can't. But her hardship, her engaging in sex work, it's all part of a big story that she's doing this for love. At this rate, Yuka was dangerously headed into yandere territory. So yandere is a
I mean, dangerous. I mean, we've already done past that.
type of character, typically in shows and movies, but I mean
Of course, they use Yuno. I think that's her name, right? It's been a long time since I've seen Future Diary.
she can technically exist in real life too. It's usually a girl that is obsessed with one guy. And it's usually girl to guy. She's obsessive, jealous, full on toxic, unhealthy, illegal levels of attachment, foaming at the mouth for him, addicted to him, his scent, his everything. She is ready to be violent. She's ready to commit crimes and potentially even murder people just to be with this guy. If I'm a yandere for you and I see another girl look at you, I could punch her in the face. Like, just toxic levels. It's not even like she's flirting with you. She just looks in your general direction. I'll kill her. Like, that's the vibe. It's a combination.
Oh yeah, so rolling us back to the host thing real quick. I guess we could call those like what I refer to as the asshole guys as like tsundere guys. So you don't really use the word tsundere a lot for men, but I think that's kind of what I would say. Like tsundere jerks, we'll call them. I know we're just like going off on a tangent real quick just for that, but let's just call them tsundere jerks, even though that's not relevant anymore.
Of two Japanese words, one which means sick and the other one means love struck. Someone who is so love struck that they're sick in the head. I fell down a rabbit hole again on this one, and I'm going to be honest with you. There is a yandere subreddit with 73,000 members. There's even a video game that you can get called Yandere Simulator.
She better not say Yandere Simulator. I mean, that game's like dead, and is it dead? There's a running joke of like, so-and-so game got out before Yandere Simulator finished, or whatever. That's the joke, right? Like, this game came out. So GTA 6 is going to come out before Yandere Simulator got finished, and then there's a whole thing about the creator is a creep, question mark, which that's another rabbit hole that I haven't really bothered to care about, but I think he might be a weirdo, question mark, asterisk, citation needed.
And I don't know if it's still available because it was really controversial, but you play a girl in school, high school, that's infatuated with a boy in your class. He doesn't even really know you like that. Like, he really doesn't know you. You guys are not dating.
So it's like full on stalker vibes.
Yeah, it's just a stalker.
There's no way this guy doesn't know what Yandere Simulator is. No offense. He knows what Yandere Simulator is. He's just like, he's just here to ask questions, right? So I'm pretty sure he knows what Yandere Simulator is. He probably plays video games. He knows what it is.
He doesn't know you. You guys are not dating.
So it's like full on stalker vibes.
Yeah, it's just a stalker. But it's like a hot stalker. The yandere are always like conventionally very attractive.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the game, you're basically stalking this guy, and any girl that talks to him, looks at him, the mission is to cut her up with a knife.
Your mission is to just not necessarily cut them up with a knife, but just to kill them, period. And that was like the whole big thing. There's so many different ways you could kill people in Yandere Simulator, from what I remember. I haven't seen that game in probably, it's been a decade, right? I haven't seen anybody touch that in like a decade or so, but like push them off the top of the building, throw them into like a furnace, I think, and burn them alive. I mean, you can just regular stab them. I think the stabbing is obviously the main yandere aesthetic. It's just to stab someone to death. But yeah, and throw them in the trash. You gotta hide the bodies after you've killed them. Yeah, it's just like trying to find a bunch of different ways how you could kill people, I think, is the main draw of the game. Again, game never finished. I don't know if it ever will be finished. I don't know if it's like you can't even get the game anymore. Because again, the guy is considered a creep. Again, citation needed. And again, like it's been like a decade now, and the running joke is so-and-so game, or so-and-so game, or so-and-so events occurred before Yandere Simulator finished, so.
And then for some reason, you have to drag and hide their bodies and then take pictures of their skirt. It's a pretty unsavory game. That's why it's controversial, but it's popular. Now back to the subreddit. A lot of the posts they have up are depicting women being so infatuated with a man, they're basically forcing themselves on them sexually, like tying them up and forcing them to get her pregnant. And usually the women in question are really, really conventionally attractive, like with double Ds. And the people who really like this subgenre typically are men. I guess they like the idea that they make a woman go so crazy that she loses her mind and is foaming at the mouth and lives, sleeps, breathes him. One Reddit comment reads, I don't know why other people like yandere, but personally, I just like cute girls who might be a little batshit crazy. Another comment reads, I guess people like the fact that a person like that, like a yandere, isn't likely to leave or betray you in a relationship sense. They're not.
I mean, it usually ends with you dead, but because if they can't have you, no one can, etc., yandere stuff. But it's just the same thing, right? Uh, guys just want a crazy girl, and the girls just want a crazy guy. The serial killer thing. Again, that's why serial killers, and I guess even female killers, get well, now in modern days, with the internet, female killers will get obsessed over if they're conventionally attractive, and then serial killer men, I don't even think they need to be conventionally attractive? Question mark. Maybe they all are. I don't know. But like, it doesn't really matter if they kill a bunch of people and wind up in jail and are still alive. Women will just throw themselves at them.
Not likely
And
to
of course, like the stereotype that women love watching serial killer documentaries, right? Like that stereotype as well. They just love them so much.
like a yandere isn't likely to leave or betray you in a relationship sense. They're not likely to cheat on you. They're not likely to break up with you. So maybe
It's like a fantasy, right? Is it like kind of like those funny TikTok girls like when you're getting kidnapped, but your kidnapper looks like this hot dude that's
yeah,
like
I
kind
think
of like
so.
that, maybe?
Yeah, and like I think when you just look at it from a media standpoint, I don't judge people's interest as long as it's between two consenting adults. I don't think yandere or the trope of yandere in anime, because it's a common trope, I don't think it's inherently dangerous. It just adds a lot of elements, story elements to a plot or to a show. But this is far from like the craziest interest I've ever come across.
Yeah.
But in today's case, it's going to go very, very sideways. There are...
Well, I mean, how much time do we have left on this? 20 minutes. 21 minutes. That's all we got left. How much information are we going to get on The Sims? Because I want to know what she's doing. 'Cause I swear to God, she's doing like Fansly or OnlyFans or something right now. I don't know if that's true or not. You can't hold me to that.
two sides to this story. Because Phoenix is a host at a host bar. He does have a level of pressure and responsibility to take care of his clients outside of the bar. Not saying he has to sleep with them unless he wants to and chooses to, but he has to make sure that they're happy. So he would go on these tohans with Yuka, where he would go to cat cafes with her, go watch movies with her. And Yuka, even though she was paying for all the dates, and there is a transactional element to all these dates, she didn't see it like that. She was like, no, this is love. This is a real date. This is my boyfriend. Do you see where the problem here is?
Yeah.
But it would only continue to escalate when Yuka leased a 5th floor apartment close to Phoenix's work, and she felt like, no, we both want this. All I have to do is wait for him to quit his job and move in with me, and then he will be all mine. And they will be together forever. But the more Yuka is doing for Phoenix, the more he's pulling away. By the end of May, so this is just 2 months. By the end of May, they're fighting nonstop. Yuka is always demanding just things that don't make sense. I do want to preface this by saying they're not dating. They never were officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Both of them will admit that. It's actually pounded into host heads from the day that they start working that they should never get a girlfriend. You're being paid to be a boyfriend to a lot of women, and if they find out you have a girlfriend, the fantasy is dead. Like, why would they pay money for that? Both parties knew that. They were not exclusive. They were not even dating. But Yuka would do these things where she would call Phoenix while he was at work. And she's like, can you please come over? He explains, I'm sorry, Yuka, I can't right now because I'm at work, but maybe I can come after my shift. That's very reasonable, right? Yuka would keep calling and would even respond that if he didn't come immediately, she would jump off the roof of her apartment. Phoenix didn't know what to do because on one hand, he's a compassionate person that would never want someone to do something like that. But on the other hand, he feels really burdened by her because, like, what responsibility does he have for her mental health? They're not even dating. He was so stressed out by Yuka, he kind of starts distancing himself from her. On a Reddit post, asking people why they're into yandere characters, a response reads, I guess it's the idea that someone is so loyal, so devoted, and completely attached to you that they'll be willing to do literally anything to make sure you and they are not separated. Yes, a yandere girl is crazy, but it's not because she's evil. She does things with the intention of helping you, even if that's not necessarily the right thing to do. I should note that a yandere girl won't randomly stab you unless there's a compelling reason to do so.
Compelling reason, which is they can't let anybody have you. Again, spoilers, not again, but spoilers for Future Diary. That's like part of the plot is that uh, killed the main character question mark in a alternate timeline. I think I haven't seen Future Diary in a long time, so you could honestly take what I'm saying as not true. She killed the main character on an alternate timeline, I think, then went back in time or somehow because there's this whole supernatural thing going on too, where they are like all these different people and couples are fighting to become God. On top of that, right? So she becomes God, goes back in time or to an alternate dimension and to be with him again. 'Cause she's so obsessed with him that she goes back in time to be with him again, and then they that's where the actual story takes place. Um, and then she ties him up, I think, at some point, and she's going to kill him again. She might even try to kill him at one point. I don't remember. But like literally, you just get killed. I don't know what is the girl from School Days considered a yandere? Again, spoilers for these animes that are like ancient history at this point. But I think at the end of School Days, everybody knows the girl literally kills the main character and cuts his head off, and then they go off happily ever after. Her and his head go into the I don't know, where do they go? They just go somewhere. And that again, if she's assuming we're considering her to be a yandere, she kills the guy. So yandere stories do or can end with the you being killed. So this is like literally just one for one for how yandere stories can play out, where the girl's so obsessed she kills you. So it's just like it's again, if she can't have you, nobody can. Scenario.
May 21st, 2019, deranged Yuka found her compelling reason to do so. Yuka woke up to her friend blowing up her phone. Phoenix was at work and Yuka is alone, and her friend is telling her, "You'll never guess who I saw at a love motel. Phoenix with another client." Yuka paced around the apartment all day until Phoenix came to see her because he was like, "Yeah, I'll come see you after work." And she's screaming, "Why the hell were you at a love motel with another woman?" And I'm sure Phoenix is taken aback because, again, they're not dating. This is his line of work, right? But he reassures her that they did go to a love motel, but they didn't do anything physical.
That probably was a lie, but he just had to tell her what she needs to hear, right?
Yuka's really hurt, and she tells him, "Okay, fine, I get it. It's your job. But from now on, you have to tell me if you ever see another woman outside of the club." The next day, Yuka's on the phone with her friend, and she noticed that Yuka didn't sound good. So she's like, "Hey, Yuka, is everything okay?" Yuka starts explaining how she worked all day at the delivery health job and just, I don't know, the relationship's not going well. Her friend listened, and I presume she also is in the industry because she tells Yuka, "Look, if you want to be with Phoenix and he's a host, you've got to put up with this stuff. That's the job. That's what comes with dating a host." Yuka gets off the phone and calls Phoenix. And he's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, after work today, I'm going to go get drinks with a female client. Like, I have to." He's fulfilling his promise to her that he would tell her if he went anywhere with another woman. Even though...
I mean, good on him, I guess, for just like doing that, but he's just putting more mental anguish on himself, having to basically treat her like a crazy girlfriend, even though they're not together.
So again, he doesn't have to. Yuka was so mad, she took to journaling. She wrote down her feelings. She wrote about how the only way to ease the pain of this relationship was to kill Phoenix. She said that she was going to kill him and then die, like Romeo and Juliet, so that they could be together forever. She wrote, "I apologize to everyone involved with me. I've always had a bad habit of telling lies, and I wanted to be the heroine of a tragedy. Something beautiful, something fleeting, and I don't know what happened and what didn't. Sorry for being a bad daughter. I'm sorry for being a stupid daughter. I have a tendency to tell lies, and I don't know what's a lie or the truth. And when I found someone I love, I didn't want him to look at anyone else, so I thought it'd be best to kill him. The me that has nothing knows nothing. I didn't like calling him Luna-kun." So this was his stage name before the stabbing. Later, it's Phoenix. It just made me feel like money. But to me, he's real name redacted. The one that I love. I love you from the bottom of my heart, and even when you only see me as money and you only feed me lies because you're a host, if you die, all of our words become true. So I'm going to take care of you now. Don't worry, because I'll do anything to be with you. According to our Japanese translator, Yuka uses the word aishiteru instead
Which is like the strongest word you can use for loving somebody.
of daisuki, which is much stronger of a phase.
Yeah, I mean, you have 3 levels. You have Suki, Daisuki, and Aishite. So like love, and I don't know, super love, if you want to say. I don't know how to like translate that, because it's literally just you like somebody, you love someone, and then you love someone.
Of saying I love you. Most couples, especially young couples who haven't been dating long, like example 2 months, will only use the more like love ya, I imagine is kind of like that, right? Versus I love you. But she uses the very strong emotional word for love. It's very interesting. Now, another message reads, I want to be a tragic heroine. How is it possible for him to look at other women than me? I know killing him is for the best. If I kill him, it'll be eternal, and there will be no pain afterwards. I don't need anything other than him. Yuka had officially spiraled. After drinking with a female client, Phoenix came to visit Yuka. It said that she asked him to come over and help clean her apartment, and I believe that he was going to be compensated for his time. So he helps her hang curtains, they talk, they have. And after all of that, Phoenix is like, hey, can I please just take a bath? It's been such a long day. He draws a bath, gets in, ends up falling asleep in the tub. And he's thinking, oh my God, this is so dangerous. I can't fall asleep in a tub. So he gets up, dries himself off, puts on a pair of boxers, and runs into Yuka's bed and starts napping. While he was asleep, though, Yuka had gone through his phone and found pictures of Phoenix and another woman at the bar. Now, these pictures are said to not have been in any context in any way. So they're not kissing, they're not groping each other. But Yuka felt like, why? Why are you taking pictures together? Why would you need to keep these pictures? Why would you have them on your phone? At 3:50 a.m., Yuka walks over to her kitchen and picks out the sharpest knife. She had bought it at the store recently.
I mean, she was already like planning to kill him, so I don't know why she needed extra. Maybe she was like contemplating whether she should or shouldn't, but then like looked through his phone, saw pictures, and like, okay, kicked her over the edge again.
She walks into the bedroom, finds Phoenix asleep, and he just looked so peaceful. So she sat on top of him, took a good look at how he looked, and then plunged the knife into his stomach. The knife had gone so deep into his stomach, the handle of the knife was basically inside of his body. Not the blade, the handle. She used that much force. Phoenix said that he opened his eyes, he didn't feel any pain. He just had shock, like, this doesn't make sense. Why is there a knife in my stomach? There was so much blood, like, gushing out of his stomach.
Also, we're getting first-person testimony from Phoenix here, so that it is implying he survived this. Because I kind of felt like he did. It didn't, like, it was pretty misty and like foggy and vague whether or not he's actually lived through this. That's really the reason why I wanted to watch this, because I don't know if he lived. I feel like it's so muddied whether or not he's okay or not after being stabbed a million times, especially stabbed so deep basically the knife went straight through him. Like to the other side.
His instinct kicked in immediately. He tries to push Yuka off of him forcibly, but she's sitting in a way that makes it really hard for him to move. And
well, yeah, she's sitting on top of him, right? I'm assuming she's straddling him.
Additionally, the knife in his stomach doesn't help that either. So then he tries to strangle her. Again, just to get her off of him. And eventually Yuka asked him, "Do you like me?" Which is just so unsettling, okay? To which he felt like, okay, this is my way out. This is what she wants to hear, obviously, right? And he says as sincerely as possible, "I love you. Of course, I love you. Let's be together forever."
I mean, that's like not what you want to actually say, because that's what she kind of wants to hear to finish killing you.
He's really hoping this is what's going to get her off of him. But she stares back at him and gives him the most chilling response. "I love you too. So let's die together." This is after 2 months of not even dating. Phoenix starts to shake in pain because now the pain is kicking in. His eyes are wide. His whole body is trembling.
But he's also probably like bleeding out now, so he's going to start getting weaker. His adrenaline's probably kicked in, so he probably has some boost in strength and whatnot. ability, just power to do stuff, but he's gonna slowly just start fading.
And whether it was a
Let me
struggle or
let me go back because it.
pain is kicking in. His eyes are wide, his whole body is trembling. And whether it was a struggle or Yuka chose to get off of him, it's unclear, or a little bit of both. Yuka forcibly pulls the knife out from his stomach, which is not a good idea. When you have injuries like that, it's just not a good idea to pull it out because then he could bleed out to death. She throws the knife under the bed, and this caused Phoenix to bleed even more. And he's begging her to call an ambulance, but she's not moving. So he runs for the door. He could hear her screaming behind him, "Don't go, don't go." But he kept going. He's smearing and dragging blood all throughout the apartment unit, into the hallway, into the elevator. Yuka's chasing after him. The only reason that he made it into the elevator and was able to get the doors closed was because Yuka wanted to grab her phone, her glasses, because she didn't have her contacts in, and cigarettes before chasing him. Her cigarettes, which is an interesting detail we're going to go into later.
Well, yeah, because it's part of the infamous picture of this girl, her just smoking a cigarette casually after killing him. Well, kill
And she's
in
obsessed with,
quotations.
to the point of killing, is running downstairs bleeding to death. But she's like, gotta grab my cigarettes. The entire elevator looks straight out of a horror scene. The control panel with all the buttons for all the floors covered in blood. The walls streaked in blood. Once Phoenix made it to the lobby, he collapsed on the floor, blood all over him, only in his underwear. I mean, most of his body was red now from all the blood he was covered in. He covered his face with his hand. He saw Yuka calmly approach, sit down next to him, and light a cigarette. Yuka grabbed her phone, called a friend, and
I thought he got stabbed multiple times. I didn't realize it was just a one piercing stab all the way through, basically, and then that's all it was. Maybe that's why he lived. I thought she just like Swiss cheese this guy, but I guess not. It was just a single stab.
didn't even tell her what happened.
She didn't call police, nothing? Just
No,
Why was she?
literally waiting for him to die.
Wow.
I'm not going to show you the picture. Picture is very telling. I would say the picture is gruesome, but that's not the point. So you do see him laying behind her, and she's sitting in a black t-shirt that's almost like a dress. She's got her legs propped up, so her knees are bent and her feet are flat on the floor, right?
Yeah,
She's
we
got,
all seen the picture.
Cigarette in between her index and middle finger, just like casually.
We have an artistic rendition of what happens, even though like the thumbnail is her face from that picture. Like if you see the thumbnail for her own video or even mine, I'm probably gonna have the girl's face up there. That's just from the picture. So I'm wondering why she doesn't want to show the picture. I mean, I'm guessing this is the blood, but
Relaxed to the side. It's not even to her mouth. It's not even, her fingers are so relaxed. It's very like, and then she's got her phone to her ear, and she's just, it looks like she's sitting on a park bench having a conversation with a friend. Right at that moment, a woman, presumably another resident in the building,
yeah, now we're back to the beginning of the story.
screams bloody murder at the sight of the two covered in blood, calls the police, and later would take the now famous picture. It's crazy. Yuka looks like a high schooler in the picture. She looks so young, yeah. But what's even crazier is that this picture would later gain her admiration and fans.
Yeah, as soon as this hit the internet, men were drooling over this girl. Like so much fan art of this girl when this happened, I think. Like everyone was obsessed with her. Like they didn't care that she almost or did kill a guy. It doesn't matter. She's pretty. She gets to do that.
Some people, they created this picture in different artistic formats. Literally fan art of a stabbing scene. Some people out there are actually interested in Yuka because they call her the real life yandere. And they say, guys, she's too beautiful to be a criminal. They even wrote things like, she can stab me any day if she wants. She's so pretty, I want her to stab me like that.
You say that until you get stabbed, and it's like, ow, this really hurts. I don't want to be stabbed anymore.
Some people were even setting her as their wallpaper on their phones. And they said, I mean, she's my dream girl. Like, I want someone to love me like that.
Wow. Come on.
Thankfully, this is a small portion of the netizens reacting like this, but
Small? I don't know. It was pretty. If it was small, it was very vocal. If we're going with the small vocal minority angle, because everybody was going crazy for this girl back then.
still, it's so dumb. I don't know what else to say. So when the police arrive at the scene, they approach Yuka like she's got a bomb strapped to her chest, which she doesn't, but they don't know. I mean, I don't blame them. This is such an unhinged scene. I would imagine that Yuka is not above doing anything crazy. Who knows what else this girl has got planned? So they're trying to be gentle with her. And all of this is evidenced in the now viral photo, because in the photo, there's actually a cop squatting down next to Yuka trying to talk to her, I guess in an attempt to get her handcuffed. It's not like he's pouncing on her, slamming her to the ground and arresting her. But she goes without a fight. She was even seen creepily smiling at people in the cop car. She said, I had to do this because I loved Phoenix so much and I wanted to be with him so badly that I had no other choice. I thought him saying things like, I like you and I want to be with you, all those things would become a reality if we both died. Which the cops and netizens were like, I don't know, because we saw the viral picture and it doesn't look like you cared if he lived or died, honestly. You're smoking a cigarette without a care in the world. Yuka was asked about those cigarettes and why she just looked so relaxed. And she said, oh, well, I mean, I'm addicted. I'm super addicted. I smoke like 4 boxes a day. That's the equivalent to 80 cigarettes a day, guys. But as for how she was able
Yeah,
to
I mean,
just
that's a lot. I mean, like, I don't know what's going on with those cigarettes, but
callously smoke while he lay dying behind her, she
I think isn't it just like she's at peace now, right? She doesn't have to worry about him getting away. She's killed him. Well, in quotes, she's killed him, and now she can just have a relax and then enjoy him in the afterlife, right?
cigarettes a day, guys. But as for how she was able to just callously smoke while he lay dying behind her, she said she has no answer on why she felt compelled to smoke. She said that she just wanted to smoke because she was waiting for him to die so that she could die and they could be together forever.
See, that's what I
I
said.
do want to preface this by saying I didn't see any reports that she brought down any weapons into the lobby. So from what we gather, she left the knife in the bedroom. So if that's the case, how was she planning on exiting? I would imagine she would want to be physically next to him when she did it. So even that's a question of like, are we sure that this was her plan? Meanwhile,
I
Phoenix
don't know. She could just smoke that entire pack of cigarettes at the same time. Maybe that would kill her. She's smoking 80 packs a day. She's probably already has lung cancer.
was given 20%. 20% chance to live. Doctors said the knife had punctured his liver. He was immediately operated on. They tried their best, but they really didn't have high hopes. He was in a coma for 5 days.
Okay, 5 days.
And then he woke up. He survived. And actually, his stage name, Phoenix Luna, was created after the stabbing.
Ah, that would make sense. So he was Luna this entire time until now, and that's why they're calling him Phoenix. Look at that. That was a good a modification of the story to be calling him Phoenix the entire time, only for it to have the M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end of I didn't even get the irony of him being called Phoenix because I didn't know if he lived or died during the story. I thought he died, so it would make sense. But yeah, the M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end of like, oh, he only got to become Phoenix after surviving this stabbing, which I'm assuming it's probably pretty what's the word? Not unfortunate, but not ironic either. Let me think. Oh, there we go. Pretty morbid that I'm assuming after surviving this stabbing, it's just going to be the exact same, but the opposites of what's going on with Yuka. Like, Yuka's become a yandere that all these men are obsessed with. She's getting all this attention. I think she's cosplaying and doing, websites stuff or whatnot. I don't know if that's true or not. Again, there's only 7 minutes of the video. I don't know if she's going to go into that. That's why I really wanted to watch this video, is to see if she would talk about that for an extended period of time. But she just spent like 30 minutes talking about Host Club, so I guess we're not going to get much on what Yuka's doing now, because I swear to God, she's out of jail and doing online money-making stuff, influencer stuff. But I think with him, it's going to be the opposite, where it's like now women are going to flock to him even more because he survived the yandere. So it's like he's probably extremely popular now. I mean, literally, he's called Phoenix now. Like that's probably women are probably obsessed with this guy now after that. Though that's also a problem. Assuming he's still doing this job, he's like, this job is what got you in this situation to begin with. So it's like kind of be weird if you're still doing it. But I mean, if that's the only work you have and you make so much money, I guess you just can't stop, right? So I don't know if that's what's happening here. But yeah, crazy twist at the end with the Phoenix name. I was not expecting that. That actually was pretty cool.
Because he was a survivor. He wanted his name to be symbolic of everything that he went through and how he still rose above the ashes like a phoenix. And that makes it sound easy, but it wasn't. He was hospitalized for over a month, and he said, at first I couldn't speak because I had no voice. I was bedridden. I had to relearn how to walk once they allowed me out of bed. I couldn't eat after the incident, so I lost a lot of weight. And then came the nightmares. He would wake up drenched in sweat, and he had this reoccurring nightmare that Yuka was contorting her body to crawl through the small hospital window to find him. And he requested nonstop to be in a windowless hospital room, even if that meant never seeing the sun. Phoenix stated the only thing that got him through this time was his coworkers would come to see him to cheer him on. And because they thought that he was going to die, the police worked really hard tracking down any of his relatives. This was the first time in 5+ years that he was reconnected with his siblings. Because after he left the orphanage, they were all out of contact. And it was just nice to see them again. He said it was a very bittersweet moment. This is what Phoenix is going through. And the court is like, okay, Yuka, you can get out on bail. They even let her train to be a nurse caretaker. She went to training 3 times a week while she's out on bail. I'm sorry. If you're like, Stephanie, name one nurse you wouldn't want when you're sick. Yuka Tako Aka and Lucy Letby. But like, are you kidding me? A nurse? Yuka said that she was inspired by this incident, inspired by attempting murder, that she wanted to help others from now on. She actually obtained her qualification while out on bail. The trial started December 3rd, 2019, and reporters did notice something very strange. When Yuka was brought in for the trial, Phoenix looked over at her and gave her a warm smile. It wasn't a smirk, it wasn't a weird, creepy smile, it was a genuine, nice smile, and the reporters are like, what is going on? This girl tried to stab you and kill you. Phoenix would state to the courts that he already forgave Yuka. Before the trial, Yuka had sent him a long letter that read, sorry for the sudden letter, and she just apologizes. I mean, I can read part of it, but it's just the most basic apologies. Like, I understand.
Like, I wondered where we were going to go with this, but again, like, he got to live through it, so I think he's just so, like, how are we going to say this? He's just so, empathetic's not the word. Pushover might be a harsh word, but he gave in to all of her demands constantly, even though he shouldn't be doing that. He should be sticking up for himself and standing up for himself. So it's kind of just like that. So I'm assuming that's part of, like, he's just such, let's just say he's just such a quote-unquote good boy that he, of course, he was just going to forgive her instantly. Question mark.
And you must feel anger, pain. But it's just...
I'm hoping it's not because he actually got simped by her trying to kill him. Like, it actually simped him into, like, actually loving her now. Like, it actually had the effect that she wanted. Though, she might not even care about him anymore after doing this. I'd assume so.
The most basic apologies, like, I understand you must feel anger, pain, and frustration, and suffering will only increase towards me, and I should disappear. I'm sorry, it must have been more painful than I can. It's like those words. It's a really long letter, and just, I'm sorry is like every other sentence. A lot of netizens felt like the amount of time she said I'm sorry became so repetitive that it almost lost all meaning towards the end of the letter. And I feel like with this letter, I didn't particularly feel genuine remorse. And nobody would have blamed Phoenix if he didn't either. Most people in his shoes would have just ripped up the letter and not even think about it. But Phoenix, he thought long and hard and decided to tell the judge that he didn't want to push for harsh punishment. He wanted her to take her own apologies and words to heart and to change. Live a normal life, of course, without him in it.
Wow.
Phoenix did settle a civil suit with Yuka where he was awarded $40,000 for his injuries, but that all went to medical bills, and it's honestly nothing considering all the physical therapy that he had to undergo, the mental trauma. So even though he was compensated, he doesn't need to tell the court to be lenient with Yuka.
Where's the 40,000 even coming from? Because she had no money. She was giving it all to him already, so I felt like she didn't have money. She was living from check to check, just funneling it into him.
But Phoenix continued, I feel partly at fault for what happened. He said he had no idea Yuka was engaging in work to pay for the bottles at the bar. He said had he known, he would have treated her very differently because of the mental toll that can take on someone. He said this was partly his fault and he just wants her to be happy. There are mixed feelings about whether or not Yuka feels genuine remorse and if she should have a second chance back in society. This debate is not including the people that are sexualizing and romanticizing her. Side note, her fans started a GoFundMe to bail her out of jail. They raised $4,000 in 2 days. The donation link was mass reported and eventually taken down, but it's just crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, she's being praised for being basically pretty.
I think I remember the bail thing of like fans trying to fund money for her.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, she's being praised for being basically pretty. This is pretty privilege at its finest, and for her resembling some sort of real life anime character trope.
Crazy.
Yeah. But sane-minded people were wondering, okay, is she genuinely going to change? Or should she allowed to have a second chance or not? Is she dangerous? Taking all those things into consideration, the judge sentenced Yuka to 3.5 years for attempted murder. Yuka burst into tears at her sentencing. She was sobbing so hard her whole body was shaking. And Phoenix's request to not harshly punish her probably played a huge role in the sentencing, which sounds really light to me. Thankfully, the courts made it so that Yuka is no longer allowed in the red light district of Tokyo. So at least Phoenix will have some peace of mind if he continues to work in the industry.
Yeah, but does he live in the red light district? Just because she's not allowed there, if he lives outside there, then he's still in trouble.
He was already having nightmares at the hospital. The last thing he needs is to be at work and have this looming fear that Yuka's just going to show up one day at his workplace acting like nothing happened. Like, hey, babe. But Yuka should be out in a few months, February of 2024. From what we know, she has been well behaved in prison and plans to pay her parents back for the settlement that they paid Phoenix.
Okay, so
She
her
said that
parents
she's
gave
also
the
willing
money.
to face all the social consequences when she gets out.
Well, this was a year ago, and like I was saying, I'm pretty sure I heard this girl is just making it up, making money from being doing cosplays and stuff. So I don't think this video is old enough for her to not know that this girl is living it up again. I think I'll look into that after the video.
Meanwhile, Phoenix is doing well physically and can finally eat and talk normally like before, but because his liver was damaged in the attack, he can no longer drink alcohol. And for that reason, there was always this looming threat that Phoenix wouldn't have a job because, drinking is such a big part of being a host. But his work family pulled through. Now at work, the other hosts take all of his drinks for him. And I don't think any of his new or old clients care that he's not drinking. They're actually all fascinated by his story. It's definitely a strange situation. Phoenix was almost murdered. He has a scar on his stomach to prove it, but his popularity in the clubs was skyrocketing afterwards. It's kind of dark, but everyone wants to know what's so special about Phoenix that a pretty...
That's what I'm saying. Like, at both ends, like she's getting really popular from being a yandere. He's getting really popular by almost being killed by a yandere. Like I immediately knew like he's just going to stay number one because all the women are going to flock to him for whatever reason. It's almost like, not to go there, but it's like, well, how she's wording it now is that they're all interested in why would how special is he if like this pretty girl almost tried to kill him because she loved him so much. It's like how sometimes guys say like, oh, nobody cares about them, but once they get to a relationship, all the women come out of hiding and like, oh, they're suddenly interested. Or like if you have a husband and you have homewreckers and stuff like that, or you not have you have a husband, you are a husband, and then you have homewreckers trying to ruin that or whatever. Like, just for some reason, if you somehow get a girlfriend or a wife, and now a bunch of girls start flocking to you, it's like, oh, well, someone has chosen him to be special, so he must be special, thus I should try to take them. It's that kind of like mentality, I think, and this is possibly the same thing. It's like someone deemed him so special that they tried to kill him to be with him forever. So I want to know what that special thing is, and now that they're all flocking to him now.
pretty young girl would throw her life away to try and kill him, to become so obsessed with him. It's dark, but Phoenix just kind of embraces it. He survived and he's making the best out of it. He even said he's kind of thankful that people are interested in his story because it's helping pay his bills. He said, I don't hold a grudge. I think there was a reason for her to stab me. It's also kind of thanks to her that I'm able to achieve sales that I did in less than a year since I became a host.
Wow.
I mean, this guy really knows how to see the silver lining of things. Yeah. I mean, Phoenix was later interviewed at his new club, The Servant of Eve. He told the story of how he was stabbed, which we already went over, but it's just really interesting to see him in his element. I'm sure it was thrilling for journalists to go there and interview him
That's
and
too
seeing all the
cramped.
women around him. Phoenix looks really relaxed. He has silvery, like a silvery hue to his hair, and he just looks straight out of a boy band. He's telling the story of his stabbing, and every once in a while, a woman would lean in and get a strand of hair out of his eyes. Yeah, it's just very fascinating. You would not be able to tell that just a few years ago, he had been nearly murdered. So he's doing great. What are your thoughts on this case? Let me know in the comments. Have you heard of Yandere before this? Have you heard of hostess clubs? Let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Please stay safe, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.
Okay, so that was the anime girl goes viral for stabbing crush. Though again, we are going to further figure out what is she doing now, because I swear to God, she is like doing like influencer stuff. So let me look that up. All right, just spent like I don't know what 10 minutes or so looking things up. I found her profile, which is, if you must know, Uyu Peko-chan, I believe. So UYUPEKOCHAN. Peko, as in like more Peko, I believe, from Pokemon, since her icon's like more Peko with a freaking Bippy in its mouth for some reason. She seems to have like Bippy plus Baby Bottle here and there thrown through her pictures. She actually has posted recently, like the 16th, on Twitter. That's 5 days ago, so she seems to still be around doing things. She hasn't streamed on Twitch in 2 months. She hasn't done anything on YouTube for 4 months. But I'm guessing it's all just Twitter and TikTok now. I'm assuming she's streaming on TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account, I don't think. I don't know if it would be easy to find her. I mean, I could have just gone to the Twitter thing and done. So she is still doing cosplay and doing stuff on Twitter, and I'm guessing TikTok. So she is still around. And even I noticed that like 5+ people that I follow on Twitter are following her. I was like, really? Are y'all simping? But yeah, so yeah, she's still around, and that's what she's calling herself now, Uyu Peko-chan. Which of course, like, she wouldn't have known any of this because she wasn't out of jail yet. But yeah, since she came out of jail, she's been doing cosplay and YouTube and Twitch and I guess TikTok now as well. So she's still out there, possibly striving, I guess. So, oof. But at least I guess Phoenix is striving now too, morbidly so. So just both parties are just perfectly fine now, it seems. Just have to hope that she doesn't lose it. Because how do you just stop being crazy, right? Like, how do you just stop being crazy? I feel like you don't just stop being crazy just because you were in jail for 3.5 years or 3 years, whatever, however long it's been. So yeah, I don't know. But like I said, maybe I'm gonna end up doing two to like. It just takes so long to do this stuff. I don't know if I want to sit here like just for another 2 hours to do another video today. But like I don't have the time, so I have to do it now rather than do it later. So we might end up doing 1500 dead video, the silent killer, today. It's just video will be going up tomorrow. So if you're waiting to see that, that'll be up tomorrow. But I might actually record it today, is what I'm saying. It's not going to be the same day. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers or think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we're working watch time and subscribers, and don't forget we have a throne now as well. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr and RaleyDrew. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tune to the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Another do. See ya.